Hi, welcome back to the Basement Gun Shop. So we're not working on guns, we're not talking about guns. We're going off topic with the second one, home brewing. So this is an English brown ale. I brewed about 5 weeks ago, almost 6 weeks ago. It's been bottle conditioned. It is slightly carbonated. Oh, and it's very, very good. It tastes like Sam Adams, almost. And it's good. So, let's talk about extract kit brewing. This is where most home brewers start, myself included. Last night I brewed batch number 5, and it was an extract kit. Now what an extract kit is, it comes with malt extracts, whether they are dry in powdered form or a liquid malt extract. Those are all the sugars that are extracted from the grains, or the starches extracted from the grains and then converted to sugars by cooking them or letting them sit in hot water, around 160 degrees, give or take. So it's kind of an easy way to brew your own beer at home. In the last off-topic video in this playlist, we talked about home brewing equipment. All this stuff on the stove right here behind me. So this time I just want to condense an extract brew day into hopefully a 20-minute video. I'm going to chop up all the video I shot last night and show you all the ins and outs of extract brewing. The one I brewed last night was an Irish red ale. I got this kit from homebrewsupply.com. Monster shout out to them, those guys are great. This is the second Irish red ale kit I've brewed from them. They made, one little mistake. They didn't include 2 items in the first kit I ordered from them. I emailed them about it, and I didn't get a response by email. I got a phone call the next day, and I was shocked. I would have been happy with them shipping me the items they forgot. Instead, they not only shipped me the items they forgot, which was a muslin bag and some priming sugar, but they also shipped me a complete second kit so I could brew it again. I mean, that's awesome, okay? The kit was like $40-ish to make roughly 2 cases of beer, a little more. Actually, I bottled the first kit yesterday morning and then brewed the second kit yesterday afternoon into yesterday evening. I got about 2 cases and a 6-pack out of it. So roughly 54 bottles of beer, 53 bottles of beer. So that'll be ready to drink in 2 weeks. What you can expect from an extract kit is, here is a production beer, my favorite, Newcastle, and this is one of the home brews in an identical bottle. The Newcastle's a little darker, the homebrew is a little lighter, and it's a little cloudier because it's unfiltered and it's bottle conditioned. There is a layer of sediment in the bottom of the bottle. That's the yeast that's actually doing its thing and carbonating this bottle of beer. So let's cut this intro and look at what you get when you order an extract brewing kit. So what we're brewing is an extract kit. Basically what that means is you don't have to do a mash, you don't have to convert the starch from the grains into sugar. It's pretty much all done for you. But this kit does include what's called specialty grains to give the beer extra color, some flavor and aroma and all that other good stuff. So in the specialty grains we have 4 ounces of caramel malt, we have 4 ounces of roasted barley, we have 4 ounces of special roast, and we have 8 ounces of a caramel 40L malt or roast grain, and 5 pounds of Muntins Light DME. DME stands for dry malt extract. We have 5 ounces of priming sugar, which is basically a corn sugar that you mix with your beer before bottling after it's fermented. We have 1¼ ounces of East Kent Golden hops. This is the muslin bag for steeping the grains. And we have a vial of White Labs Irish Ale yeast. So since we're going to start, this needs to be shaken and it needs to warm up to room temperature. It's been stored in my fridge for a week or so till my fermenter's freed up. So that's the kit we're going to be brewing today. The next thing we're going to look at is bagging and steeping the muslin grains and getting ready for that. The specialty grains ready for steeping. We got a 20-minute steep time on the specialty grains. So let's swing the camera around. Okay, so there's the sink. What better to be doing when you're brewing beer than drinking beer? Of course. Cheers. So what I like to do is take the muslin bag and wrap it around a big container like this. The grains have already been milled for better steeping, so they're going to be a little dusty when you pour them in here. Keep that dust from getting all over the place. Just wrap it over the bag and pour the grains into the bag like this. So let's start with the caramel 120L, 4 ounces. Dump that in there just like that. Put that on that side of the sink. Let's get the roasted barley in there, 4 ounces. Let's get 4 ounces of the special roast. I have no idea what's in this special roast. And then the last 4 ounces of caramel 40L. Or 8 ounces. Yeah, 8 ounces of caramel 40L. So there you can see we have our specialty grains in this great big tea bag. The only other thing I like to do is once you have the grains in there, grab a string and tie the bag off nice and tight so that it doesn't come open in your boil kettle, and you have a way to pull it out and keep it from falling in. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. My water's at 155.5 degrees according to this. I also have another thermometer that you can stick in there. I don't like using that. That's quick, simple, and accurate. It's a little Radio Shack infrared thermometer. You know, got the laser aimer on it, so it's cool. Laser aimer. So we'll grab our muslin bag here with our specialty grains in it, and we'll dunk the tea bag. One thing you want to make sure of is you want to make sure that when you put the bag in, you get all those grains in there, you get them all wet all the way through. That way you're extracting as much of the color and the flavor from these specialty grains as you can. So usually what I do is I'll put it on the back of my brew spoon here, like that, and kind of flatten it out. And then just drop it in there. 20 minutes has elapsed. It's time to pull the grain bag out of what is now the wort, or I guess partial wort, because we did partial mash, whatever. And this is why, stand by. Oh, needed that. This is why I also listed this big ass strainer, got from northernbrewer.com. This comes in real handy for when your grain bag is done. You hit that 20-minute time limit. And you just Lift that out. Oh, look at all that sugary goodness. And just set that on there like that. Let it sit for a bit. Let it drain. In the meantime, we finished sanitizing everything. So now we're on to the boil. We're gonna kill a burner. We're gonna set the pot down here. I prefer to do this on the floor. It's just easier that way. Let's take a look at that real quick. Oh, there it is. There we go.
No. Once my consulship is over, we're gone.
But it's so far from Rome.
So, that's it. And we're coming in with our 2.5 pounds of Munton's Light dry malt extract, and we're going to mix that in.
I want peace and quiet and nice rich province to squeeze.
I'm going to stir that in. Make sure we don't get any lumps or clumps. Alright, there we go. I'm going to call this a boil.
I think that's a good idea.
A little stir. Make sure there's nothing binding up on the bottom.
As a friend.
I'm going to get my hops
No, I was
and get that in there.
you only through fear of death. Oh, I understand. You know.
Oh, it smells so good. So here we go. There you go. There's 1.25 ounces of UK East Kent Golding hops. Got to get the spoon ready because this is going to foam and we don't want to boil over. So we're going to start mixing now and sprinkle those hops in there. All that hoppy goodness. Oop, there's one left in there. Come on, get out. Get out. Get out. There we go. All that hoppy goodness. Some people use what are called hop balls, which is basically a stainless steel cage to keep the hops contained. Yeah, I don't think so. And we're going to reach over here and start the timer. 60-minute countdown. I wish you could smell the deliciousness coming off of this pot. So we're at 12 minutes left in the boil. Yeast, nutrient, the Werflock have to be added within the last 15 minutes. So here we go. Boy, that was complicated. So, we've got 17 seconds left in the boil. So, when that beeps, we're going to pull this off the heat, put it on the floor. We're going to mix in the last 2.5 pounds of dry malt extract, Munton's Light dry malt extract, and there is the timer. Turn off the heat. Shut off that sound because it's really annoying. And we're going to mix in, the last 2.5 pounds of dry malt extract. Let's move the camera down. There we go. Grab the brew spoon. And get to mixing this last bit in. So, at this point, the wort is chilled to 92 degrees. Let's pour this into the bottling bucket, top it off to 5 gallons, and then we'll see where we're at temperature wise. There we go. So we're going to dump this in there. Here we go. Check our final gravity. 1046. According to this, according to the recipe, we're supposed to be estimated original gravity 1051. We're at 1046, which, yeah, I'm not upset about that. I'm going to use the big mouth bubbler, and I'm going to run it through the funnel with the strainer just to add a little bit more to help it clarify. So doing this is simply nothing more than open the valve and let the beer flow. Five and a quarter gallons racked into primary fermentation. Now, the next thing you have to do is aerate it. So we got some aeration done by going through the filter in the funnel out of the bottling bucket, but it still doesn't hurt. Oxygen at this point is your friend. So here we go. We have some White Labs Irish Ale Yeast, WLP004. It's time to pitch the yeast. Get a little water in there. Rinse out all that yeasty goodness. That water's too warm. That's not going to hurt anything. So there goes our yeast into the mix. I'm going to give that a bit of a stir. There we go. Wipe off the top. Make sure that's good and tight. I'll have a sanitized bung and a 3-piece airlock. The function of an airlock is really simple. Fill it halfway up with water. This little inside cup right here goes over the stem in the middle like that. And as the CO2 pressure increases from fermentation, it pushes this up and down and allows excess pressure boop, to bubble out. So we need to fill this about halfway with water. Some people say fill it with sanitizer, but water works. And then I will fit that into the bung like that, go downstairs and put this in the fermenter. So there you have it. An extract brew day, condensed down to about 20-25 minutes, give or take, including the intro and this part right here. What else comes in an extract kit is a set of instructions. For example, this has directions on it: mash at 152 degrees, ferment at 65 to 68 degrees, estimated original gravity 1051, estimated final gravity 1012, estimated alcohol by volume, or ABV, 5.2%, bitterness, 22.8 IBUs, international bittering units, estimated color, 15.7 SRM. To give you an example about the bitterness, according to this little IBU chart I have here taped in the front of my brew book, Guinness Draft is at about 40 IBUs. Newcastle, my favorite, is 24 IBUs. So they're not very bitter. Then you got like Dogfish Head 60-minute IPA, which is up around 60. Dogfish Head 90-minute, up around 90. And what's this one here? Stone Ruination, 100 plus IBUs. At that point, you can't even taste the bitter. It's beyond the capability of a human to taste bitter past 100 IBUs. Something else, well, let's cover the instructions real quick before I get to this. It lists the contents of an extract kit with the crystal malt or caramel crystal malt, 40L caramel crystal L120, roasted barley, Breeze, B-R-I-E-S-S, roasted barley, Breeze special roast, Muntins light DME extract, Golding's East Kent hops, 5% alpha acids, Muntins light DME at flame out. The instructions go through everything from starting the boil, when to add, how much water to boil, what size pot you should use. It says in a 3+ gallon pot. Chill your wort, top with cold water, how to bottle it, 2 cups of water, add in the priming sugar, the 5 ounces of priming sugar, cap it, store the bottles at 68 to 74 degrees for best results. Everything soup to nuts for brewing this. There's a helpful tips here, a helpful tips sheet. So you get 5 pages of instructions in the homebrew supply kit. One other thing that I do is I keep a brew book. Everything about every batch. If I'm streaming Rome on Amazon Prime, because I love that show. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a great show. If I'm streaming Rome, I even write that down in the book. What I'm watching, what music I'm listening to when I'm brewing. If I deviated from the recipe, for example, in this recipe, I added 5 teaspoons of yeast nutrient and a Werflock tablet to help it clarify. So, of course, that's in the book. I keep the ingredients in the book. I keep the instructions folded up and you know, stuffed in the book or in this little folder in the back. I keep the instructions for each batch I brew in the book, and I keep just basically everything I've done in the book. So, for example, the second batch I ever brewed was a nut brown ale. I changed the boil time. I went to an 80-minute boil versus a 60-minute boil. I added the second addition of hops later in the boil. I added the bittering at 60 minutes. So I had boiled it for 20 minutes and then added the bittering hops. So I changed the times. I changed a bunch of stuff about that recipe just playing around. So that's all in the book as well. So if I come across a year from now, if I say, you know, I really want some of that Irish red, guess what? I can go right back to it. Or I want some of that Sam Adams tasting English brown ale. Well, that was the first batch. Here it is. I really like this beer. I don't like Sam Adams. It's too hoppy for me. But this tastes exactly like it, and I like it. Go figure. Probably because I brewed it. And I've got another 3/4 of a case sitting downstairs waiting for enjoyment. So that is extract brewing in a nutshell. Next week sometime I should have all the equipment in to start doing brew in a bag. a big old turkey fryer that holds 12.5 gallons with the big heavy strainer basket, so I can just lift the sack of grains right out. I got the bags on order. I've already got a brew in a bag kit here, and I've got another 1 or 2 on order. So next week I'll probably be doing another one of these about brewing a bag, and that one I get to move outside in the chili because I'm not going to crank up a turkey fryer in my kitchen. Are you kidding? The little woman would have my head on a plate. So that's all for this edition of Basement Gunshot. Quickly becoming Militant Brewery. Whatever you want to call it. So, as always, if you have any questions or comments, please write down there in the comments section. Like the channel, subscribe, even better. Till next time, stay safe, keep brewing, and cheers. Good beer.